crisis. And the other thing is, at this time of big stories and crises, everybody's got their own political concerns now. In North America, elections, the Trump phenomena. In Europe, elections, the refugee crisis, counterterrorism. All of these are taking up more and more of the attention of the world, and it's distracting attention from the crisis that is so vast that 20 million people are at risk of death through famine, malnutrition, and disease. And basically, it's just one more sound up there in the ether that people aren't hearing clearly, and it's just getting worse and worse. And I don't know yet what the answer to it is.
Kennedy, how do you feel about that?
I think the answer, if I may, could also be in looking at, how South Sudanese journalists are telling their own stories as well. Mm-hmm. So with the work that I did starting in 2013, I went to South Sudan with the support of John Hondrick of the Toronto Star, and he funded my trip there to conduct this research to look at food security issues. And I came up with a report. I've developed a prototype that allows for some kind of a mechanism to effectively report on food security issues and hunger and famine and all the the evils that were unfolding in South Sudan. And so what I found there was that a lot of young South Sudanese journalists want to tell their stories. They want to get their stories out. And they have tapped into, some of them have tapped into the new wave of, digital liberation tools, Twitter, Facebook, and all the, WhatsApp, and all the gadgets, the tools that we have. And that, in some ways, is getting the stories out. But it's not really reaching, I believe, the ears that is supposed to make those critical decisions, whether it's in Ottawa or in Washington, in London, Paris, all these major Western cities that need to
change the world, guy.
In South Sudan.
Free energy.
So training
he's on point.
Journalists is going to be critical to the
critical guys
have right now in terms of the disconnect, if you like, between the stories that are getting out and what is being received in Western capitals.
Sam?
I certainly agree with that, and I think it is going to take a monumental global political effort to react to this crisis. And when do we reach the tipping point on that? It would seem to be that early warnings are not sufficient. We know 100,000 children are immediately at risk. We know millions more are at serious threat in terms of their health and well-being. Are we going to have to get to another situation like the Ethiopian famine, where the images are so overwhelming and incontrovertible that we are compelled to do the right thing as an international community? Famine is preventable, and it's often this kind of pact working approach that can, in some instances, and this over-reliance on food aid and that kind of thing that doesn't take a long-term view of these challenges, that can inadvertently, unfortunately, make it worse.
30 years ago, over 30 years ago, we knew that those images in Ethiopia, dying children, and just ghastly images, we knew that if the world waited to see things like that again, it would be far too late, because when a famine strikes, it's already a massive failure.
Yeah, if everyone had abundance.
Try and help a famine, but basically when they're dying in those numbers, people have reacted too late. I think also today there's a numbing of the visual aspect. We see so many catastrophes, so many corpses over the years. The other thing is, I think there is something I call deadly defeatism. I think countries are getting weary of struggles that don't seem to end.
That's so depressing.
It is. It's not only depressing, it's incredibly dangerous. We can't allow defeatism to take hold. But, many of these countries have been basically failed states. There are 50 failing and failed states in the world.
No, 50,
They've been failed states now for 20,
50?
30 years.
50 magnets in the wheel?
North Americans look and see no real crisis coming back again. They start to feel defeatist, that they can really affect change.
I've never even heard of that word before.
Point of view.
Ethiopia proved that this theory isn't always the case, but there is the belief by some that when it's Africa and we're talking about these kind of situations, that you can't raise them the
Yeah.
money aid, you can't raise food aid, and you can't raise
That's too
awareness
late.
of governments.
Sorry, I had too much
You
physical work
were in
today.
It's only Wednesday Eve, guy.
Yeah,
Is that the case?
I've been working on these kinds of issues going in and out of Africa.